Let's try. This is ridiculous. Okay, remove that. Yeah. All right. Recording stream. This is a little bit rambunctious display capture. Hit OK. Cool. I don't know why my view is like this. Oh, lovely. Hold on. Okay. Cool. I don't know why my. Okay. Okay. I don't know why this is, but we're gonna do this way anyway. There we go. Nope. No, that is. Okay. Well, we'll do this. Just make life a little bit easier. Alright. Put on the headset. Alright. There we go. Perfect. Alright. What is up, gamers and strangers? My name is Demon Hobbit, and I am back in business. I am actually here for a little surprise. I am here. Oh my gosh, Unity is still my guy. Why are you the way you are? Alright, hold up. This is going to be chaotic. I can tell. Oh, there we go. Everything looks like it's working. So yes, I am back with a video. And today, this video is actually going to be quite interesting. Okay. As you can see, refresh. Alrighty, just making sure. There's a lot of stuff. Okay. I am doing a, funny enough, I am doing, okay, cool. Everything's implementing. Yay, all that good stuff. Alright. I am working on a school project for my Applied Programming CSE 310 class. It is a game framework. I meant to do this a couple weeks ago, but just didn't have the time, and I didn't set the time or make the time. So this is where I am. Okay, yeah, timer's kind of going. This is where I am basically doing something really cool. I'll explain it here in a little bit in a sec. I was trying to sort of have kind of a game plan of how I wanted to explain things, how I wanted to describe some things. But I will describe things in more detail. I'm just going to simply say leave a like, comment, subscribe, share this video to whoever is really interested in things like coding streams, wanting to see a video game get coded, all that good jazz. Other than that, based on the title, yes, this is a coding stream. This is where I'm going to be coding. I have a timer. The timer is actually meant to be a kind of recorder to keep track of how much time I'm spending with the project. I could have it technically running right now, but right now this is more of YouTube, the formalities, all that stuff. This isn't quite part of the project. But basically, I'm going to try to get as much time as I can visually so that you guys can see what I'm doing, where I'm basically going to be with coding and things, stuff like that. Just kind of showing what I do behind the scenes, what I don't do, all that good jazz. Alright, I'm trying to look and see. I think it rewrote the folder. Yeah, from what it looks like, no, it did not. Okay. We're going to move this over here real quick. These are some folders that are empty. Scenes. Okay, we need to move the script one as well. And then there's the settings, and then there is the UI. There we go. Pull that all under assets. Yay. Having to make sure. So that is kind of the gist of what I have planned. And so we're basically going to be bouncing between uh, basically our Unity here. I am going to be making a lot of stuff. But this is more of my gateway into trying to come back into YouTube. This is meant to also be kind of more of my gateway into getting into coding. This first stream is going to show a lot of my inexperience along with some of my experience. I haven't fully like deep dive coding as of late, and so this is going to be my coming back to the spotlight. And so there is going to be signs of show where, and I'm going to be honest because I'd rather be honest and upfront with you guys, of where I'm going to be using YouTube videos that I watch. I'll try to keep those muted in the background just because I don't want any copyright problems. I'm going to be looking at forums, guides, but kind of a big thing, and I know this is frowned upon in the gaming community and game creating, is using AI. I want to give a disclaimer. I'm not having AI fully write this game. I have the idea of the game, I have what I want, and how I want to code things, but I don't know how to do that. And so with using AI, we're basically going to use most of AI as our web searching, because searching for that, using AI, I think is just, I'm fast start using using AI to search the web for me rather than me myself, because I could find the wrong things. I may read things wrong, but that's what I'm going to be doing with AI. I'm going to then, if there's things I don't understand, use AI to clarify, to get an idea. If there's any time AI gives me code to write, I'm going to learn what that code does, what's the importance of it, have it break it down for me, but then I'm going to type said code. That being said means that I'm not having AI just write code, and I'm not going to copy and paste. I want to be as much as a normal standard coder that just so happens to use AI, and I want to avoid myself vibe coding. And for those who don't know vibe coding, just in case for those who don't know, vibe coding is when you quite literally use AI to code, but you fully don't know how to code yourself. So you can, basically the difference between a coder that uses AI versus a vibe coder would be a coder knows code, understands code a little bit, but doesn't know how to type it. They can basically type it up, AI goes, but then they are able to read the code and understand how good it is, how terrible it is, where it can falter, and basically make your own tweaks there. Versus vibe coding can ask for code, they know what they want, but they don't know the coding language for it. So they have AI to give the code and then just copy and paste, but don't know where to implement, don't know how, don't understand. So the goal is to go from being practically a vibe coder, because I'll own it, that's kind of what I am as of this first stream, to something greater. And that is what I want to do. That is the focal point. That is the goal that I want. And I want to basically implement this and try to learn so I can be better. I want to be able to eventually be able to make games without the need of AI. So that's the game plan. Other part of the game plan is we're going to try to go as far as we can, try to get basically bare bones, get information that we need for the game to where it's the most viable product. And then from there, turn that in. But then on my channel, so on my channel, be able to continue building off of it and hopefully make a game that I can publish, that people can enjoy and be like, hey, this is a good game. So, other than that, further ado, we're going to start off. I need to grab one more thing real quick. Two more things. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. Sorry, I had to grab my water bottle and then I had to grab my school bag because I have some information and stuff there that I can access. So that's the wrong pouch, but we need that open anyway. Okay. I got my blue light glasses because migraines are evil. They're mean. All right. Plug that sucker in. All right. And now time begins now. Okay, cool. All right, let's see. Because I think the first thing is to go and take care of this code that I had pulled up. It gave me code. So basically, because I was telling chat, GBT, I was telling the AI that I was needing some code. Well, not code, but that I was needing to work on a... Oh, this is a lot of code. You gave me a lot. Okay. Oh, because I did... There we go. Hold on. No. There we go. Because I have grammatical errors. I quite literally have multiple grammatical errors. Yay. Okay. And then looking at it so far, we have, I need to turn on the fan. Because even with the window, let's crack the window open a bit. Turn the fan on. Up the light. No. Alright. So that takes care of stuff. Oh, that's why there's the error. The error is towards up here. No. No. There we go. And because that's the problem there. All right, cool. And then public C for card. I think that's because this up here is uppercased. All right. So far that's what we got, and then we have project void display, which we took care of that. Okay, and then that's the end of this class right here, which is card. Now we need the player class. Okay, and then come down here, space that out. Okay. Now we're gonna take a look. Okay. Public string dot name or string name, and then space get. Okay. We also have int. Let's see if I can turn on some lo-fi, some like royalty-free lo-fi. I just realized I played that for longer than I needed to. Alright. Come on. Something in the background. Okay. Server references, server references. That's A-okay. Okay, then we have another public. I didn't do that right. No! because it's capital P. I have very terrible problems with that. That is going to be the problem of the day. Okay. And then and equal new parentheses equal. Okay. Card. Board. Equal new okay, and then name equals name. Nice. All right, so far now we got public void show hand. Because this is all in the same ballpark. Yeah, this is all still in the player. And then we'll do that. And then the backslash n name hand. There we go, and then we'll do that. There we go, so it's not angry at us. I mean, I couldn't copy and paste and make this a little bit longer, but I feel like just to make sure that we have the time needed, I think it would be appropriate to just do it this way. All right. There we go. Okay. We got that, so that's if. And then for int I equals 0. So I am less than and dot count I plus plus
Working across teams is tough, but Asana helps you handle it. Asana can spot roadblocks.
y adds I don't have freaking premium. Okay, console right. +1. Nope, gotta be off here. There we go. And then underneath, we're gonna do and I dot display right now. Okay. And it's showing, hold on. Okay, cool. So still take that. And so this is the end of the show him. Now we need a there we go. All right. We're getting closer. I feel like we're getting closer. There's just a lot to type up. Whoa, whoa. Board, period. And then if in parentheses board dot count equals 0, and then console dot write in parentheses no cards on board. We'll get to the grammatical stuff here later, and then return. Cool. For each card in board, and then we're card dot display. There we go. Yeah, so we're still in the player class. There it is. Right, so we are no longer in there. Yay. I'm gonna save real quick. You know, we typed in 0. Where's the line? Oh, I did the same thing. Didn't notice that until now. That's good to fix. Alrighty. Then we have another public. This is the play card. I think this is, based on what I'm reading, it is, so like looking at it. So, you little rats. Thank you though. int hand index. There we go. Alright, so from what it looks like. Oh, yeah, no, so this is where. Okay, so based on what I'm reading, so we have like. I'm going to kind of show in the card typing where it shows where console.write. Right, so if the hand. Okay. If hand index is less than 0, hand index is greater than or equal to hand.count. Yes, my error was right there. All right, it says invalid card choice. Okay, come on. There we go, and then return. Okay, so based on what this is showing, for my best guess, okay, so I have hand index, so I'm guessing the parameter is the hand index. Alright, and then play a card, so hand index. Okay, I don't think, there's 0 references to it, which is fine. A couple references to a couple of these here, that's A-okay. Alright, so from what I'm looking at, this is more meant, so when we play, like, invalid card choice, this is where basically the hand, either like, from what I'm guessing, if your hand card, or if you don't have any cards in your hand, it will just basically say invalid choice. Which is good to know. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. Then if so that allows us, I think, to select a card. Yeah. So if in parentheses, so this is actually meant to be toss is greater than energy. All right, then we have it to where basically if we have, so like if you have a cost to play a card, and we don't have enough energy, this is the one line of code that will say, hey, you don't have enough energy to play the card. And then making sure we have the return feature, so that way it doesn't freeze up on us, and it can go back to whatever it is. And then, based on this last little part, okay, and then hand dot remove at index. And then down here, so basically it's going to go in the order in which of how we basically play. So like, real quick, I'll kind of explain because this is towards the end of the class player, of the player class, which is nice. I think we're gonna probably need to break this down eventually. $, and I'm noticing that the $sign is meant for when we have to do like information. So like as seen in order to have like the account or the player play, we need to have the $, if I'm not mistaken. I can even correct that just or like by corrected. All right. Exclamation point. There we go. And there we go. And that is, so far as writing it, we're writing the line of code because that's going to be the two big stampers. All right. Let us finish up because we did a lot. We did over 10,000 changes, or roughly 10,000 changes. That's wild. Yep. Okay. Cool. All right. So now you get a basic click that because now we get to go in the fun part. All right. So yeah. So basically, oh yeah, I meant to explain. So with this code kind of looking, it's basically going to say, hey, if we have a card or card, yeah, because if hand index is less than 0, and then hand index is greater than or equal to hand count. Okay, I'm not quite sure what hand index does. We can ask about that. But card selected equals hand index. Oh, so if the card that we want to play is in the hand. Yeah, so when we have it, because it's in the hand, it's taking the card information for the card that matches in the hand. And then if the selected card cost is greater than the energy, that's when it says not enough energy. So it stops us from playing the card, should stop us from playing the card. And then after which, basically it will look at the energy cost that we have. It will then basically subtract it by the selected card's cost, which is where we get the card, which gets the information way up towards the card class. And then come back down here. Here, it adds the card to the board, and then it removes the card from hand, basically signifying so that way we're not accidentally playing the card that's in our hand on the board and leaving it there. And that's why it will say console write line. We selected, I don't know, Honey Bunches of Oats. Say that's a card name. All right, but now we get into the class, which is, I think, the most crucial one. It's the game manager. So, because like we need to player, okay, and then private. Bool is equals true. Okay, not too terrible of a choice / action. Okay, let me refill. The food ASMR of the day is animal style sauce and dino nuggies. Yes, I am that much of a child. Get on my level. Okay. Okay. So based on what we have, we're going to go basically double space real quick, and then we're going to start a public game manager. And then we're going to start this one up right here. Alright, and then player equals new player in parentheses player. Oh, okay. So hold on. This looks like... Okay, looking at what we have, so... hand dot add new card in parentheses, and then we're having the name first. The example that it gave us was Frostwolf. And then based on that, what we can do is something a little fun. Because it gave us a couple new cards where Frostwolf is there. The attack is, if I remember correctly, we can go back actually up to here. Where if we look, yeah, so it will be the name, the attack, the health, and the cost. Looking at it, yeah. So Frostwolf will basically, so example the card that we have. The card will be Frostwolf. It has 2 attack, 2 HP, and it's only going to cost 1 energy. I am going to clarify as well. This is a card game that I want to build is inspired off of Here to Slay. And Dice Thrones. For right now, we're just doing this part. Alright. Now let's just kind of go into here. Did I? Dude, man, I cannot. Thunder Raider, which is 4 attacks, 3 health, and 2 energy. Well, this card is going to be 3 energy, 8 health, 7 attack, and this one is nicknamed the World Serpent. Now, the reason why, because if you kind of notice, okay, Game Manager, we having problems. Must return to type Game Manager. Hold on. Okay. Game Manager. I just want to make sure that's correct. We're having problems here. Hold on. Oh. I can't spell manger. Alright. So that completes the Game Manager. The public side of Game Manager. Alright. Next is going to be the public run. Is the run. Okay, why is that? Wow, I cannot spell. Dude, this is terrible. And then 1, 2, 3, and then Ragnafold. Okay, I don't know why that's giving us problems. Invalid void in a member declaration. In a member's declaration? What do you mean a member's declaration? Hold on. Class of the Game Manager. Okay, we did the private player.player. Okay. Private bool is running. Public. Okay, so public Game Manager. Oh. Maybe this can fix the problem. Yeah, that's the problem. What's the problem? Oh, and I looked away, and it fixed itself on the other thing. Nice. Okay, and then while in parentheses is running, show game stats. And show menu. Okay. And then we get into the other part. So these guys are basically having problems because it doesn't exist in the current context. Because we need private void. Show game stat in parentheses. Doing that, do that, boom. Okay, so that's why that specifically is complaining. And it's the same way as to why show menu is also complaining as well. So we'll do the same thing over here, just so that way it just stops complaining. There we go. Alright, no problems whatsoever. I'm gonna save. Keep in mind, I think recommended for me, something that I do, is every time I'm done with either a private, a class, or kind of wherever I feel like is needed for a, oh, I did not have the straw in there. Wherever I feel like there's a good spot to save. It has like a big freaking huge line, so we're just gonna leave it at that. Okay. Oh wow. Energy, and then in parentheses player dot energy. Just so that stops complaining, okay. And then player dot show hand in parentheses, close parentheses, nope. Okay, and then we have to also there we go. And then there we go. So that's the show game. Show menu is going to be a big boy. All right. Because we have not caps in parentheses /n. Choose an action. 1. Play a card. 2. And turn. Or in parentheses 3, quit. So just to keep it very simple, it's given us the option, because that's kind of the idea, is just for right now, we're trying to see if we can do an energy style kind of game, where it'll kind of play, because Here to Slay has, like, you can do, like, 3, you have like 3 action points of some kind. Actually, I have the card right in front of you for Here to Slay. It says, yeah, you have 3 action points in to spend your turn. And then they have different costs of each, with like 1 being like draw a card, play a card, or roll to use a card's effect. 2 is an attack a monster, and then 3 is discard every card in your hand, and then if you have any, and then draw to 5. So they have like different ways of using costs. Anywho. Okay, and if I remember correctly, the difference between white line and right is right line is basically the system printing it out. So this is like Python's like print, and console right, if I'm not mistaken, is where you, the person, you the player, are allowed to input with girl console dot read line. Okay. Sorry, that's my last nugget, I swear. So we're going to switch the input. Who's complaining? What line? Is it the line that I am on? Hold on. Oh, it's just saying complaining that it's empty. Oh, that's why that's complaining. Okay, and then break. Oh. Okay, so we're having. I'm trying to see where, because we're running, because those two are causing problems. Let's keep typing up, because I'm guessing what it is that if this happens, I think it's supposed to help kind of understand, I guess. Okay, case number 3. Is running equal false. So that should kill, by my best guess, okay. Console dot write line game closed. Okay. And then break. Okay, cool. That ends that. Okay. Oh man. Okay. And then we need to come back down here, make one more being default. Console.WriteLine being invalid choice. Period. And then there we go. Alright, so to kind of also explain this part a little bit, these two we're going to fix here in a sec because I'm kind of looking ahead of the code that it gives. And there is at least the last two, because it looks like these two are going to be our last little private, and then that will be the end of our game manager class, and then we'll be getting into the program class. Looking at it, yeah, this is basically just meant to be like where there's certain inputs. So basically, if we chose 1, it will play the card that we see. If 2, it's gonna play. So we end our turn. It will kind of like end, like basically end the turn, stuff like that. But if 3, this is why it says console WriteLine game close is running as false. So because it no longer runs. And then that's why we also have the break. And then reason why default or is the invalid choice is that you always want to make sure that keeps running, because you don't want to have a case of something or having to write a bunch. It's much simpler to do it this way. No. There we go. Okay. So we can close on the switch, and since we know, hold on. Yeah. So it's going to be these two right here. Okay. Because that's private void. Yeah. That looks like, yeah, private void show menu. And then we're in the part of, sorry, over here. Private void play card menu. Nope. And then we got the last one, which is private void end turn. Oh, I see. Hold on. Maybe this is getting us the little buggy. There it is. Figured out the problem. Sometimes the best part about code is simply understanding. Once you understand where you can be wrong, the better you can be. Okay. Okay, then enter card number. Is it because, hold on, is it literally because I'm doing this? It is literally because I'm doing that. Good to know. I had to check because I just spammed. Input equals console dot read line in parentheses, do that, and then if let me fix this real quick. Okay. Oh, dude, this is struggle bus. So so I don't know what triparse is. We can ask her what triparse is, but from what it's looking like, it is basically the code saying, hey, when you okay. Sorry, I'm losing train of thought. I'm actually like thinking. Um, yeah. So when you play a card and it's actually the number in there, basically the play card number. So the card number of each card is -1, and I think that's going to be the order in which things are. So let's okay, and then finally there's the else. Ooh. And then console dot write line in parentheses. Please enter a number. Period. So that looks like that's gonna basically prevent us. So if I say apple, okay, and then there we go. So that's the it should pop up with please enter a number. So we're gonna stress test this as well. A little, I've kind of, oh no, it is necessary. Equal 3. And then turn ended period enter enger restored. Yay! Alright, so that's the end of the game manager. We're looking at it actually, it is quite long of how long a line of code, because this is just the program itself as a whole. Yeah, Ragnarok card game, yeah. So I'll kind of explain certain things because I know there's some little extra tidbits or quote unquote surprises. Alright, so now last things last is this program. And then okay. Game manager game equals new game manager in parentheses. There's that, and then game dot run. Alright, there is no problems. We're going to save this now. It shows kind of here that basically we're going to run this off this is built off of terminal. So based on the code, okay, so we'll type in .NET run. It should start to kind of run and give options. And yep, there it is. Okay. And I think because even if we have let's say the prototype there, as you kind of see, even if you it may or may not, it may cause problems, it may not. Who knows? We're gonna figure out. And if anyone who's non-tech wise is curious why I am choosing to type my code rather than copy and pasting, some of the reason is because the main reasons I was told and kind of taught in my first ever coding class in college was that if you're using AI, you need to know, first off, you need to know what the code is saying that they're giving to you is doing. So if you ever get asked, hey, why is there a problem here or whatnot, you're not sitting there saying, I don't know. And so in this case, okay, it's taken a while. Taking a really long time. Alright. We're going to stand up a little bit. Oh, good word. Let's see the stops. We're gonna take a look at this. Oh my. Okay, so I'm seeing. Good lord. It went so fast, it went through it.
WGU was a great experience.
Okay.
Went, 6 or 7
So,
universities at WGU.
shut up. Hold on. Okay. So, yeah. So, basically, from what it's looking like, it says, like, I put in the code and everything. It said .NET, run, play card, and turn, and quit. So, this should, oh, yeah, the first version gives us the foundation. Okay. And then once that runs, we can then build the deck. Okay. We can probably go and mention that we have Unity. So, we're going to take a screenshot of this. We'll kind of do kind of a thing like this. Alright, we're going to send this over to here. We're going to maximize that real quick. Okay. And say, okay. Let us do this real quick. Hold on. So what I came up with, but massive error popped up, can give you the code, but I also have Unity now. Let's just kind of give, because I think this would be a good way to stop it. So, like, I think it's. Alright, so at least try to give ourselves the idea. Okay, there we go. Yep, you guess is basically right. The error happening is because the C console is sitting above and next to your Unity project. When you run, Net is trying to compile everything under that folder. Yeah. So the library, okay. Folder in Unity generated junk build cache. Your console app should not compile it. We went wrong. Right now your structure looks like this. Because card.console is at the top. It sees all the files below, including Unity. Okay, best fix, we should separate the console prototype and make this structure. Okay. So yeah, so do this in VS Code. So we'll make a new folder. So it recommends, okay, yeah, and then move these files. So those two, and then so they are no longer the top folder. Optional, but I'll recommend rename the inside the console name is card module to console prototype. Okay, cool. And then run the console, okay, in the terminal. Okay, cool. We can then do that. I'm totally down for that. Alright, so we're going to do a new folder. Inside, we're going to call the folder console prototype. And then we're going to move these two into that folder. Yes. And then error not found. What do you mean error not found? Yes. Cool. Oh, it quite literally. Hold up. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What the freaking sort did this do? Hold on. Looking at everything. Okay, so it looked like it tried to fix it. Hold on. I wonder. Okay, that's interesting. I think that's. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. And then we're going to then go terminal. Select new terminal, and then we're going to type in cd. So it's going to basically try to dive into console prototype. Okay, so now we're not only in the main folder, we're in the specific folder. And then so this should run. Okay. It's for Unity and Unity Engine. Okay, so it's saying that there is an issue. Hold on. So we after typed this up. Okay, so we ran into a new problem. New error. Let's see what this says. This is a different problem now, but it's easier. Console project is now compiling. Okay. Okay, but your program is currently using Unity specific line to the top. Unity and oh, you know, if I saved and then tried that again. Problem static main. Static main. Okay, let's try that again. Because I just saw that there was... Okay, hold on. Run. The build failed. Fix the build errors and run again. Gee, thanks. Okay. Oh, it's also explained. This is actually kind of cool. Why we were seeing the problem. Hold on. Yeah, so normal C# and .NET. Okay, yeah. Why this happens? Yeah, so why this was happening. Basically, yeah, you have two different C# environments. We have the console prototype and then the Ragnarok. So, because VS Code is using C#, and .NET, it's using system, list, console, and etc. And then run with .NET.run. And then Ragnarok card prototype only will run the system if we were using the Unity engine, mono behavior, game object transform, etc., but then run by pressing. So the rule is console app files should not use Unity engine, and Unity script files should use Unity engines. Quick trick. Okay, your console should not have, which we got rid of both of those. Hold on. Let me make sure. So it's a public class something mono behavior. Okay, so let's type in, there's no mono behavior. That is good. So it didn't edit that, so it was only the Unity. Your console should have class static main, yep. Static void main, hold on. Is it? Hold on. You know, if I typed, if that's the problem, I'm gonna have a good time. Heck yes, ladies and gents. That is what we want to see. Okay, we're gonna play a card. Okay, we're gonna play Thunder Raider, and then we're gonna play a card again. Okay, and we're gonna play Wolf. Okay, so that's totally fine. But now, hold on. Ah, it did not. It said invalid choice, and then it shows that. Okay, so we're gonna play a card. Now let's see World Serpent. Not enough energy. Okay. Typed an apple, please enter a number. Okay. And then, oh, it really skips all the way back. So it just kind of skips. Okay. We're going to click 2 to end turn. We got new energy. We did not get new cards. Okay, so that's interesting. 1, 1. No cards in hand. Okay, cool. And then there are no cards in hand. Invalid choice. Okay. Now let's end turn. End turn. Okay. Again closed. Okay, so that works. That's exactly what I wanted to see. because that's showing no. Because that's showing that we have the script at the ready. I like that. That was good. That was very, very good. And only we did all that in an hour. That is impressive, folks. All right, we are gonna pause real quick, and we are going to basically not end, but just kind of take a pause. Basically, we're gonna go. Okay. And do that from there. All right, I'll be right back. Gotta make sure I silence my mic. I am back, folks. All right. Turn off my phone audio there for a second before I accidentally. Oh, no. Okay. Can I see? Let's see, because I am kind of curious. Stream settings, latency, got that. Enable closed captions. Okay. I think the situation I'm running, because I think one of you is my buddy, one of my friends. Edit. Let me see. Come on, public. I saw audience. We'll say no. And then we're gonna save. Let's see. Did that? Oh yeah, there we go. It opened chat. Okay. So I sadly had to turn off like kid safe, child safety kind of stuff. Okay. So in the meantime, so with that working, okay, yeah, I now can see. Okay. Alrighty. I am back. Okay. Cool. We're gonna save real quick, and then we're gonna go. I think we're gonna commit. Yeah. This is gonna be a hefty boy to commit. This is just so that way I have access to Unity file, not Unity files, but files on. Oh yeah, it's gonna try to collaborate all 10,000 changes. Oh, this is going to be a mistake and a half. Okay, so we're going to fix that real quick. We're going to ask, pull up chat. Okay, one more time. All right, and then we got a couple questions to ask it because we wanted to ask some questions. We're doing that just so that way we can have access. Okay. So it worked. Some questions. We'll do that. All right. So that's kind of going there. Okay, nothing too crazy, nothing too terrible. There we go. Cool. Alrighty. Chat rate 1. Someone show me live chats. No. Okay. Yes, this is exactly what we wanted. Smooth stress test with good foundation and honestly. Okay. Yep. Is the right move. Don't just paste and pray. If you understand this version, moving it into Unity later will be way easier. Go ahead and send me the lines or sections you're unsure about. A good way to do it is paste a chunk like public space, get new. Okay, or, you know, it's funny. It is funny that we asked that. No, should also start my timer. Oh, whoops. It's okay. Alright, there we go. Alright, now I got my audio figured out on my phone, which is okay. So that way I can see, well, audio's turned off. I can take a look and see. Okay, so, okay, and then I'll break it down in plain English, what it does, why it exists, and what would happen if we change the big ideas, big areas that are probably worth asking about are the string name / get, the public list / get equal new. This is the list of cards. So basically your player's hand. Okay, hold on. That is a property. Okay, this is a list of cards, basically your player's hand. And then card select equals hand. Okay, they grab a specific card from hand using its index. Okay, that removes a card. Yep. Card after it gets played and then keeps running. It even gives, yeah, handles menu choices. Yeah, so I figured that's what it was. And then try parse. That's safety. It's 4 a.m. in India. Just making you know. And good night. Ah, thanks. Good night. Or good morning. I don't know. Some people are nocturnal. Try parse int and out int integer card number. Okay, that safely checks whether the player typed a card number. Yeah. Okay. This is just to confirm. Okay, send me the first line of code. Okay, cool. So I'm going to move that over to the side. We're going to look through this. I do not know why. Okay, I think the first line of code, just kind of making sure. Okay, yeah, so this was card order. Okay. So let's just kind of make sure. So we copy that there, copy it back into. Okay, I'm guessing this line of code. Alright. Because I did use, yeah. Yes, you got the right idea. Those lines are organizing the data that every card object needs to remember. Okay, so that means when we put this in Unity, this is going to be our card information, and then that way it's not being just integrated into code in the sense of, what is it? So we don't have to integrate it directly into a script, but we can rather have it off to the side with information, meaning that every card has a name, attack value, a health value, and a cost value. So when we create a card like this, where it was new card, we are saying, yep, the name, yeah, that's what I figured out. The get part means other code can read the value, but cannot freely change it after the card is created. So this is allowed in console write card.name, but this would not be allowed in card.name equal dragon. That is useful because a card's base information should usually stay stable, as should not randomly become a dragon halfway through the new game, or through the game. Think of these as built-in stats printed on the card. Later though, we may want health to change during combat, so eventually we might adjust it to something like public int health get set. That would mean health can be read and changed, like when the card takes damage. So yes, okay, cool. So that confirmed that first part. I think another part of the lines of code that I wanted to kind of look at, just to kind of confirm, was hand index. Alright, I want to make sure this is, okay. Alright, this is I think the only one that I wanted, because it kind of answered with the try parse on what it is. Okay, so because that's what I'm thinking it would be. Not quite is not a built-in list. In this line, okay, public void, hand index is just a parameter. More specifically, it is an integer number that tells the method which card position in the player's hand we want to play. Think of it as like this: player.playCard equals 0. That means play the card at index 0, the hand list. The actual list is this: public list card hand get equals new. And the hand is the list. Hand index is the number we use to pick something from that list. Example, hand list is index 0, index 1, index 2. Okay, so this code, card selected equals hand, means go into the hand list and grab the card at this position. If it's 1, then hand 1. It gets then Thunder Raider. Okay. The slightly annoying thing is that users usually think in terms of 1, 2, and 3, but C# uses indexes because it starts at 0, not at 1. That's also big important. That's something I've learned when writing this code. Writing in C#. I've written in C# for a little bit because programming with intro to programming was Python, programming with functions was Python, but then programming with classes, which was the class kind of before applied programming that I took, is in C#. And that's actually really cool, and I've actually liked it. Some students complained about it, but I don't. And my reason, yes, so if a player types 1, we convert it to 0. Gotcha. Because the first card in the index in the list is 0. So simple version, hand equals the list of cards. Hand index is the number / position. So, okay, makes sense. I think that's about it. Let me kind of take a look slowly. We said, yep, hand removes. Okay. Okay. It's this part right here that I want to take a look at. This is the last. I'm saying this is hopefully the last one. Person selected a card. Have the hand dot remove. I can't type. Yep, you nailed it. Yep, this is the board, so this means, yep, put the selected card onto the player's board. This means, then this, hence means, remove the same card from the player's hand. So together, the logic is take the card from hand, place it on the board, and remove it from hand. Without hand removed, the card could be copied onto the board, but it would also stay in the hand, which would cause a bug where the player could play the same card again. Example, before playing, hand wolf gave board empty. After, hand remove, yep, okay. But if we only had board add, we would get, yep, frost wolf, still wolf. That means the same card exists in 2 places at once. That's a good way of farming stuff. Okay, yeah, for a card game, that is usually wrong unless you're intentionally making a copy effect. Ooh, actually, thought just came to mind. What if, and it's kind of a thought because I don't think, I want to be able to where we have a spot where we can kind of place the cards in Unity. We're going to dive into Unity here in a sec. But I'm curious if we can have it to where when we start getting to where we can actually make the bots and like we can play against the bots. I think the one thing I'm really curious about is I want to have it to where we can do certain presets so that way certain games can be kind of difficult. So like certain difficulties, so like how different bots would function and kind of randomize it. So like you can have it where bots may have a chance of duplicating a card, so they may get to keep the same card. Or other bots may be able to have more energy than you, thus being able to play more cards. That would be wild. It would be unfair, but it would be fun to kind of test gamers. I think that would be cool. Anywho, alright, so I think that's it. We'll go down to game manager, just making sure. Yeah, so player hand. And so when the game started and it was a new player, it would basically add cards there. Okay. I don't know why. That commit is taking a hard left turn. Okay, that's totally fine. Also, kind of funny, I'm sorry. I'm reading a comment. The comment that was saying the 4 a.m. in India, just making you know and good night. Like, I'm sorry if I'm so loud that you can hear me in India. Sorry, I will say that, but I am also going to continue on with this excitement. Okay, so first things first, when you go back, okay, awesome. Because I think that's about it of the line of code that I know / don't know. So like, I don't need that. I don't know why we have all that extra space. Save. Looking at everything, yeah, because we understand what the end turn. Because think of it as basically, I think someone described it where class was a function of like can be more than just a single function, but it also allowed the opportunity and the ability. Because like, I think what is it when we get into like the public voids and private or something like that. Okay, hold up. Let's actually ask that real quick. Public void and private void. Okay. Great question. There are two separate ideas in those phrases, public void and private void. Void means returning nothing. Both of these have a void. So, okay, so yeah, public void, private show. Right, that means the method does something, but it does not return a value. Example, public void display, and then it shows that information. This method prints card info. It does not give back a number, a string, card, or anything else. Compared that to a method that returns something as in public integer get attack return. That one returns an integer. So void does an action, returns nothing. Integer returns a number, string returns a text, card returns a card object, and bool returns true or false. Public means other classes can use this. Okay. Other classes. Okay, this means code outside the player class can call it. Okay, so this is allowed. Okay. So, okay, hold on. So means other classes can use this. Okay. And then that matters. Okay, so yeah, so this is allowed. Player.playCard is 0. That matters because Game Manager needs to tell the player to play a card. Think of a public method as the button on the outside the machine. Player class exposes show hand, show the board, and player card. Other parts of the program are allowed to use those. Private means only this class can use this. Example, private void show menu. This means only the Game Manager class can call show menu. So inside Game Manager, this is also allowed, show menu. But outside Game Manager, this would not be allowed. Game.show menu. Alright, that is good because the menu is an internal helper method. We do not need the rest of the program messing with it directly. Think of private methods as gears inside a machine. In our card game, this is public void run, because program needs to start the game, game.run. These are private, as shown before, because they are helper steps used inside the game manager. The outside world does not need to call those directly, it only needs to say game.run. Then run handles the rest. Simple rule of thumb. Public is when other classes needs to call it, and then private when only the current class needs it. Use void when the method performs an action but does not need to return anything. So public void player card means other classes are allowed to call this method, and this method does an action without returning a value. Whilst private void is only this class can call this method, and this method does an action without returning the value. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Period. That's pretty much it. Okay. Let's see what we got. Awesome. Now we switch from console prototype into Unity game framework implementation. For this module, our goal is to build the full card game. Is not to build the full card game. Our goal is to make a small working Unity prototype that satisfies the GameWorks checklist. Yeah. So this is where the project side of the sprint is. There has to be a background, which I actually have. It's in my USB I have plugged in. At least one unmovable object, at least one movable object, collision between at least two objects, and then keyboard or mouse input. So basically, keyboard would be either having a key press, mouse input. I can basically click left or right mouse. Easy enough. Collision between at least two objects. So I'm guessing, I'm trying to think what that kind of means, but let's see. Yeah, for this game ownership, we'll make the background, which is the game board, an unmovable object. Okay. Play zone and then the battlefield zone. Yeah. And then the movable object is the card collision, and then input is the mouse drag, and then collision is card overlaps, drops on the play zone, or it can be used in discard. This gives you a clean demo for the model and also starts building toward the actual card game. We're going to open the Unity, okay, and then create these folders: scripts, sprites, scenes, and prefabs. This keeps things clean. Okay, so we're going to start kind of show because we've had that open in a while. Okay. So we have prefab, so we have scripts, we have scenes, we have settings. What are you doing? Okay. Yeah, we have scripts, we have scenes, prefabs, art. Okay. I'm going to actually do something here. We're going to open to art real quick. There we go. And we're going to create a folder, call it background. And then we're going to create another one, and we're going to call this sprites. Okay, cool. And then we can actually open this, so that way it shows. All right. The next thing that it says is, okay, is create the scene objects. In the hierarchy, create these objects. So in the background, so in hierarchy, create these objects. So we have our sample scene. Okay, so we need to create, hold on. It's giving me a lot to figure out, so hold on. Play zone, okay. Okay, we're gonna type in, okay, one step at a time. Gonna give it that, and then we're gonna kind of actually find kindly and nicely. All right, where's Pugsley? Tabletop? Nope, not tabletop. Come on. Search Pugsley. Board. Is board in Pugsley, or is it on my desktop or my laptop? Nope. Okay, week 4 project. No. All this looks like art. And not my art. Okay. This is gonna take a little bit of dandelion dealing. Okay. We're going to probably then eject Pugsley. Cool. That's just to say Pugsley's not there. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, let me see if I can find it on my desktop real quick. Okay, hold on. We're going to go under Documents. Okay, we're going to... I love when technology doesn't want to work in my favor. This is... Ah! Oh, lovely. We're gonna basically give my computer a hard time. Because I'm opening up an Illustrator, just making sure. I somehow saved it as a... Apparently, theoretically, we saved this Joker as a... Okay, I'm gonna actually put dishes away real quick. I'm gonna let Adobe Illustrator... Yeah, so Illustrator kind of run on my desktop. Okay, click OK. Oh, this is not even it at all. Okay, hold on. Home. That's not even the right one. Dude, where is it? Did I save it in Adobe? Oh my gosh. That is the wrong thing. No, I need fetch. Hold on. I need that. Okay, and then I need to access my school stuff. Ah! This is embarrassing. No, it's not. Okay, cool. Wait, hold on. Can I just access it? I wonder if I have it here. Because it's saying... Why are we complaining? Okay. We're going to click cancel. Okay, we're going to probably close VS Code. See if I can find... Nope. Your documents. Nope. Okay, let me try... Open Illustrator. Okay. Let me, for right now, just leave that like that there. Alright. Oh, my computer's gonna be cooking right now. I say that, I'm kind of nervous. I'm up be so for real. Okay, that's... Adobe is loading. Okay. I'm a level with some people. That was my phone. And then it's gonna whine to me. Oh, hold on. And it's not responding. Come on. Okay. Next. Oh, you are slower than a hot bag of garbage. Okay, yeah, the board. Yeah, so board is in my information. Dude. Okay, cool. My files. Come on. Come on. Okay, is it under shared with me? Home? Nope. It's not even there. Okay. Save as... Okay. Oh, it's under my documents. Hold up. Okay, we're going to close that out. We're going to save my little computer. Under documents. Okay, cool. Thank you for the 71 fonts. Thank you for the 4 app updates. Go into here. Go to just Gmail. Honestly, it would be quicker to transfer over. Nope. And I'm really pressing all the wrong buttons. And then documents. Copy to Pugsley. Cool. And cool. Okay. There we go. Alright. Let that kind of plug through. We're gonna take a pause real quick, folks. Okay. Let us go back to here. And then we are going to drag and drop the mat. Okay, and then we're going to save. And let that saving time be the time I get up and walk away slightly. Okay, we are starting to get coming down to the wire a little bit. But that's A-okay. Okay, so... Cool. Now let's open you. AI file is an Adobe Illustrator. Good. Alright. Okay, yep. Okay, your current is good. I keep it exactly like that with arts, yep. Audio, okay, this is clean and way better than dumping everything in one folder. Since you already have a card mat, then let's make our background first. Okay. You need to not reliably use an AI Illustrator. The safest route is to open the map in Illustrator and export it as a PNG. Okay, so files. Okay, we're gonna open. Huzzah! I'll actually get to show you guys this. I'm kind of proud of this. Hold on. I am genuinely proud of what I did. Alright? It's literally simple. It's meant to be like this. I didn't want the orange rim at the very end and in the back, so that's why it's kind of glossed over a little bit. But yeah, you have your enemy played card, you have a player's card, the player's hand, the draw, and then the discard. Just something that I thought would be kind of cool to have. Oh god, I itch my nose. So yeah, so that is what we have. Okay, so we needed to go towards file and export. Export as, and then we said a PNG. And if I remember mistaken, the reason why we do PNG is that it's a little bigger, I think. I literally glossed over it. It's terrible. Alright, off of Pugsley, we're actually going to save this. Hold on. We're going to save this directly into Unity. Card model, okay. And then just export to art. Oh. Yeah, background color is going to be transparent. Ah, no. I think it saved it. Hold on. Let's take a look, see here. Okay. There we go. So let us just delete that. Okay. And then inspector. Okay, Bart, Playground. Okay. That's actually not too terrible. Okay. Cool. Okay, card mapped up and then put it, in under backgrounds, which is already there. Cool. Alright, and then once you click in the inspector, set the texture type to sprite. Sprite mode is model single, and pixels per unit. Okay. So yeah, texture type is sprite. Sprite is single. Yep, and then okay. Then click apply. Where's apply? Apply. Okay, cool. Alright, and then step 2, put the playmat in the screen. Drag from into the hierarchy and then rename it background. Rename background. Okay. And then I'm guessing there we go. And then it's just in the camera. Okay. There we go. It is. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Then set the position to 001. There we go. Perfect. All right. The Z1 part keeps it visibly behind the cards. All right. If your camera is looking towards positive / negative in 2D. If it disappears or looks weird, we can adjust insert later. Okay. And then file. Okay. And then save as, save inside. Save your scene. So we're gonna right click. Okay, so hold on. Okay, so that saved that. Okay, under assets, then scenes, and then type this main scene. Okay, save scene. Hold on, just want to make sure. Okay, so save scene as in assets. I'm gonna type in. It said main scene? Yep, but let's... Scene. Okay. There we go. And if we take a look at our scenes, we have the main scene right here. Which is nice. Okay. This gives the first assignment requirement that the game must display a background. Once your mat is available in the screen view, send me a screenshot. Cool. Easy enough. Alright. And then we'll just do this much, because that's all we need. Alrighty. Righty, Freddy. Okay. Beautiful. This is already looking like an actual prototype. Yep, right now the scene has the main camera, the global light 2D. So next we need to add the unmovable object requirement. Since your map already visually has zones, we'll make an invisible transparent collider zone over players and play cards. That will become the place where cards can be dropped. In the hierarchy, you right click and choose create empty. Create empty and then rename it. Okay, hold on. Okay, so we said player play zone. Okay. Okay, and then select and then expect it add component. Box Collider 2D. Okay. Box Collider 2D. Aha! Alright, and then set is triggered. Checked. Okay, now move the scale so it covers the green area labeled players in the play zone. Okay. Where is its position? Okay, so hold on. 2. -1. Nope. That's... Okay, so hold on. Do 9, and then we're going to move it 4. I don't know why it's not move tool. Okay. See if there's a scale tool. Nope. Oh, there is. Hold on. Is there a hotkey for it? Oh, that is epic. Scale tool. Okay, and then move it. Okay, and then we can rescale it one more time. There we go. Alright, that's okay. You need this to transform. Okay. Rough starting point might be somewhere where. Okay, cool. And then scale. Okay, but don't worry if the numbers are off. Fit the correct. Okay. And then give it a visible debug sprite temporarily. Because an empty object is hard to see. Do this for now with the player's play zone selected. Add component. And then sprite renderer. Okay. Give it a background. Okay. For the sprite, yeah, we'll choose. Do I have a square? I do not have a square. Okay. Okay. And then color. We'll do some sort of like greenish there. Okay. Okay. Can I click apply? Okay. How big of it though? Hold on. Okay. Okay, and then add, okay. Pretty much, yep, with low alpha. Okay, cool. This is just temporary so we can see where the zone is later, because then we can also click on it too. See? Aha! And then add a player zone tag. So we're going to do from looks like tag. Okay. So select the player zone and then at the top inspector, click tag, and then tag it as, hold on, create a tag name exactly play zone. Under play zone. There we go. All right, then go back to and then set it. Yep, capitalization matters. Ah, fetch. Untag. Add a tag. Minus tag. Play zone. Save. Okay, what we just added was an immovable object, which is the player play zone. Even though it is invisible, just as a collider, it counts as an immovable object because it exists in the game, world, and the player does not move it. Once you have a player play zone, paste a green player over the green. Okay. Send me a screenshot and we'll add. Okay. Okay, nice. Your yellow rectangle is exactly what we need. It is not a yellow rectangle. Okay, now we need the movable object, the card. Okay, we need to create the card object. In the hierarchy, add a 2D object. Sprite square. Then rename it card. Fun fact, you can click the name 3 times and it will appear. I just typed in square again, didn't I? I did. Okay. Move it into the hand area in the bottom left, rough transformation. Well, here's the thing, folks. Okay, with a scale of said 0.8 for the x, 1.2, and then scale is 1. There we go. Make a card shape taller than wide, and then add components to the card. Select the card, and then add a box collider. Hold on. And then rigid body, I believe. Rigid body 2D. Yep, for the rigid body, set the body type kinetic. And then gravity scale. Gravity scale? What do you mean gravity scale? Hold up. Where can I find that? Like, all I want to know is, oh, where's the caveman? Okay, we're gonna pause. Your cards need to collide so Unity can detect mouse clicks and triggers. Okay. In the card appears behind the playmat. Select the card object and finds the sprite renderer. So, important sorting note. It does not appear. For the background, yep, player 1. That way the card can't. What we have now, okay. We are going to... Nope. Alright. We're going to do this. Oh, where can I find the gravity? Yeah, because the gravity scale. I don't have... you're in the right spot, but because your body type is set kinetic, unit hides, moves the normal gravity field. That's okay for this drag and drop card. Fine, but we need... You told me! Hold on, did it say static? Did it say static? No, it said... Yeah, kinematic. Yep, simulated is checked, so leave it as this. Okay, we don't need... Okay, if you really want to see the gravity scale, you would change body type to dynamic. Okay, for this card prototype, your rigid body setting. Okay, cool. Is the drag script. Okay, well, because of the time, we're actually going to save. We're going to save as all of it. There we go. Everything's saved. Everything's good. We're actually going to end it here, folks. Thank you for watching. I plan on doing this more. I do have other content coming up that I'm working on. Content such as the Dread game, because I've been wanting to play it and then record it. So I am recording video content for it. I just need to edit and then send it. I do have Styx, Master of Shadows. The reason why I did that one is because the Blade of Greed came out just recently, and I wanted to try to see if I can do a playthrough through Styx, all the trilogy. I also have Subnautica 2, but I'm not quite certain on when I have time for that. But between those two games, Styx and Dread, I think I'm going to have some content. I'm going to have to take a pause on the Minecraft Russian hardcore roulette for a bit. I don't have people to play with me for that. And then on top of that, I do want to redo Hollow Knight. I had to redo my computer, so I don't think my Hollow Knight files are saved. If they are, then I can start back from the very beginning. But I also think I've lost my video recordings, and I want to get that recorded before things start to take off on that. So, but regardless, those are kind of my plans for what I have planned. I hope you guys did enjoy the content that I made today. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any card ideas of what card characters, because the idea behind the game is it is inspired off of Here to Slay and Dice Thrones, and I plan on having the cards be mythology based. So if there's cards you want to have ideas, certain abilities or features, give me a heads up. Other than that, you all have a very blessed week.